From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California, it's Coach's Rize Time with Coach C. Collins.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1.
Coach's Rize Time.
Yep, you're here with Coach C. Collins. Welcome to another Coach's Rize Time, where I talk a little bit of basketball, a little bit of hoop stuff, try to give you some insights. If you're tuning in for the first time, thank you for checking it out. If you're returning and you're ghost watching, I don't care either way. Just thanks for the support, and I appreciate it. So, today's topic, I wanted to talk about something that has been kind of pressing me about high school basketball, high school athletics, and high school athletics in general. It's something that's kind of affects the entire country that I don't think is getting addressed. And I'll get more into that to that case. Basically, there's a story that was recently had of a player named Kiku Parker. Now, I bring this kid up because he's a former YBA kid, a kid I've actually seen grow up for quite a while out here in, Sacramento area, Rockland and whatnot. And he was a part of my AAU club. I didn't coach him directly. Coach Robinson did, so shout out to him. And Kiku is a good player, very high-level player, built like a tank. Kid's tough as nails, too. And, my teams have actually, when he's been on other teams, has had battles with him over the years. When I first met the kid, he was in, I believe, 6th grade, and he was going against my 7th grade, and he was playing with 1440. I bring all this up because the history is going to be relevant to those listening, and then we're going to talk about in relations to CIF. That is the governing body of high school athletics in California, for those who listen outside of California. Met him. We played against him. This was my team when I had Keandre Burns, Nathan Kent, Array Young. Nathan Kent is at Navy playing football Division I. Array Young is at Tulsa. So a lot of history there. And the coach of that team, his name was Mamo. He's now the head coach at El Camino High School. And, again, it will be relevant to the story in a while. So we ended up winning. And I remember meeting Kiku's dad for the first time. And the thing at that time, Kiku didn't have a left hand. So I told everyone, I told Nathan, sit on his right, force him left, force him left. His dad actually came up to me and said, hey, man, thanks for exposing my son because he needs to work on that left and he don't listen to me. And so, excuse me, he was kind of happy that I forced him to kind of expose that weakness. And that was my first interaction with him. And Mamo himself. Mamo, I remember even in that game, got into it with a ref pretty bad. I felt like they were going to go to blows, but, hey, that's neither here nor there. So you fast forward years later, they were part of the club. They were with Robinson's team. They were part of that dynasty year we had with Tyree and Tyrese Rose and Kiku and Derek Lamb, and they were just unstoppable. Their 8th grade year, they were just a sheer powerhouse. No one could deny that, especially if you know the Sacramento, NorCal area. You can't front. From 6th grade to 8th grade, those 5, Mamo's son, Mateen, and Kiku, Tyree and Tyrese Rose, and Derek Lamb, they were very dominant. Even my UA kid, Cab, he was playing with them for a while. So, they were killing it. That's when they were part of YBA, which shout out to them. They helped put YBA on the map. Mamo and Kiku Sr. Have known each other for a long time. I always assumed they were like the best of friends. You fast forward later, Mamo is now the head coach at El Camino High School. Kiku goes to El Camino High School. He grew up in Natomas, I think, or Del Paso Heights for the most part, and, knows the Natomas area. He was a stud football player, so everybody wanted him to play football, but his love was basketball. Goes to El Camino, with his coach that he's had for years, with his friends, his buddies, like a lot of kids do. And he was there for, I believe, 3 years. I believe 2 or 3 years. Correct me, if I'm wrong, sorry, got it wrong. But he played for Mamo. I think he dropped like 1,000 points in his career so far, 1,500 or 1,000 points. So, in my opinion, he gave him the years he wanted and did his thing. So, to me, you know, he played and gave it all out. So fast forward, junior year, there was a falling out. It was pretty bad. I have sources who talked to me about it. It was Oakmont versus El Camino. Mamo butted heads with Kiku Jr., the player, pretty bad, to the point that, you know, I guess he took his jersey off, or Mamo ripped his jersey off. You know, Kiku Sr., shout out to him. He sent me some photos and videos. I'll probably include him on this. And it basically drove a pretty big wedge between those two. I don't know if they ever recovered, but either way, fast forward, Kiku Sr. decides to move to Natomas, like literally pack his house up and move. I believe they already had a house out there, and he goes to Grant High School, and that's where he currently is at. Well, Mamo decided, because he didn't like that, to go to the CIF and report that he was recruited by Grant High School. Coach Denard at Grant had no idea he was coming there. He had no idea. He had no influence on that. He just saw him here and was like, great to have you. CIF initially agreed with Coach Mamo and basically, you know, said, yeah, we believe you, and we're going to sit him out for his senior year. We're going to literally strip away his senior year. And that's, in case in point, my problem. Why do we have a system in place? And I'm noticing this trend, especially in California, but it happens in other states, that you have these governing bodies of committee members. Because if you look at the CIF website, you can't see who the actual name of the people are. As far as I can see, it's a 9-person committee that make the decisions for these young athletes with no accountability or restrictions. I mean, that was the same argument you made about the NCAA, right? Until they did the NAI deal, where they really had to now acknowledge, like, we are making millions upon millions, if not billions of dollars off the backs of these athletes, and they're not workers. They're not compensated for it. So once the hypocrisy kind of kept getting exposed, it got to a point where they were like, we got to set something up where they can get paid. What I'm saying is the accountability was the public pressure. CIF and governing bodies like them have no pressure. These are people, we don't even know if they're former athletes. They can literally determine the outcome of kids, which affects ultimately their future. For some kids, could be the only means in which they can provide financial coverage for higher education. And of course, nowadays, there's so many different ways to succeed without higher education. But still, statistics show and are still consistent today. Kids with bachelor's degrees, in general, still make more money and live a more prosperous life than those without. Now, again, because times have changed, social media, things like that, it has closed the gap some. But to believe that, you know, no higher education, somehow you're still going to somehow get a 6-figure job and be a millionaire. I mean, come on, it's very hard. That's a very, 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 very small few. Let's remember, only 1%, or no, I believe only 1% make above 200K in this country. I think it's like maybe at 3 or 5% who make it to 100K in this country. So most people just aren't getting there. If you're one of the ones that are lucky and blessed, welcome to it. But so where does this circle back? Well, if an athlete's means in order to get to a higher education institution is now stripped away from him by 9 undisclosed people in a building, that's a serious problem to me. And I'm curious of those out there. I'm curious of your thoughts. You know, leave comments. Tell me stories that happen to you. I happened to a former YBA kid of mine named Malik Rose. But then the problem with CIF, they're not consistent. And Malik Rose went to Folsom. He literally left from Oregon, where he played, came back to California. Keep in mind, 2 different states. And they still sat him. And he didn't even get to play his senior year at all. Right? How messed up is that? That's the point guard for my UA team, if you look at the old episodes of DocuSeries. Then you have kids like Julian Elbows, who went to Oakmont High School. I coached him. Shout out to him. And then he went to Intercom, then back to Oakmont. And I don't believe there's any issues. I know there's a mandatory 30-day sit, but I don't even know if he did that. And again, I'm not saying everything is perfect. Of course not. I just don't think that a group of people should have that much power without any accountability. Also, it needs to be said, why are we under the assumption that basically all high school coaches are just honest people? Why are we under the assumption that these men and women are not infallible? I'm not perfect. I get caught in my emotions. I can get angry. And I run an AAU program. I run a gym. And I can admit I have to hold myself or reflect back and calm myself down at times. So why do we treat high school coaches like everything they say is absolutely 100% true? Why do we presume kids are guilty until proven innocent? They have to go through this whole appeal process. There's articles. I'll leave links to that in the description. You know, probably have them pop up somewhere around here on this video. But it's something that needs to be said. You know, overall, my conclusion with it, I think it's corrupt. I think it's corrupt as fuck, and I think that it's not okay that these things are just being put out there like that. There needs to be some sort of accountability. I'm not sure how it's going to look. You can't ask the U.S. government to do it. Like, you can't use the federal government to monitor every state and high school. But I believe if they made the committee members, at least this would be a step in the right direction. If they made the committee members public, like, give us their names, give us their Instagrams, give us their damn Twitters, like, because now they have to face actual public repercussions and pressure for decisions that they know are bad or corrupt. Because there's so much stuff that can happen under the table. People could be paid, people could be, and let's keep it real. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's a reality of that. There's a reason even in our government, there's three branches of legislation, right? There's the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the President. Checks and balances, right? If you give one organization absolute power to make decisions that affect the masses, and keep in mind, just in men's basketball alone, every single year, there's over 400,000 high school varsity athletes in the state of California, and you have one governing body of 9 people deciding the fate of hundreds of thousands of potential athletes. Man, that's just, to me, the numbers, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. So, you know, please check it out. I'll also leave links for CIF so you guys can see it for yourself. It's just it's a scary situation to think that someone has that level of power, but you know, we'll see how it plays out. And with that being said, we come down to our conclusion. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, hit that like, subscribe, hit that follow, hit that bell. Please support the channel. I want to keep bringing you guys good content. Probably get some video reactions out. I want to try to keep being consistent. But yeah, everybody be safe out there. You know, the weather sucks right now, so looking forward to some spring sunshine pretty soon. I'm just I'm gonna make sure to be more consistent on my content to get you guys some good stuff. Leave suggestions for me too if you got anything that you wanted me to talk about. But you know, shout out to you, Kiku, man. I'm glad you got to play, and all the kids out there that have dealt with this. Keep your heads up, man. You know, there's always tomorrow. It's never the end of the road as long as you keep going. Remember, you all are amazing. Everybody be safe, and I'm out.